A U.S. warship barely avoids a collision, coming within 41 yards of disaster. This is not a fluke. China's naval strategy makes distance the real weapon, forcing rivals into snap decisions beneath its shadow. It is not the size of the fleet, but how close they are willing to get that changes everything. But why is proximity now the ultimate force multiplier? And what happens when reaction time runs out? On September 30th, 2018, the guided missile destroyer USS Decatur steered a steady course through the South China Sea, just 12 nautical miles from Reef. From the port side, a Chinese Navy destroyer closed in, maintaining a speed of about 10 knots. The gap between the ships narrowed by the second, shrinking from hundreds of yards to less than 50 yards. On the Decatur's bridge, the crew tracked the approach, watching distance fall to 41 yards, closer than the length of a tennis court. Orders snapped across the deck: hold course, monitor speed, stay ready. At that moment, the Chinese destroyer cut sharply across the Decatur's bow. The U.S. commander ordered an immediate evasive turn to starboard, avoiding collision by a margin measured in seconds. Every decision on the bridge had to be made instantly. There was no time for consultation, no room for error. In that compressed space, with steel hulls nearly touching, the difference between a routine patrol and an international crisis came down to a single maneuver. The incident did not make headlines for firepower or fleet size. Instead, it exposed how close-range tactics force commanders to act on instinct, with almost no warning, and how quickly routine can tip into danger when distance disappears. In March 2021, satellite images revealed a dense cluster of vessels anchored around Whitsun Reef in the South China Sea. Over 200 ships, riding in neat rows, formed a floating barrier that stretched across the horizon. These were not Navy destroyers or Coast Guard cutters, but fishing boats, part of China's maritime militia. Their automatic identification systems, usually required for tracking, went dark for days at a time. Maritime analysts traced their origin to ports in Hainan province, noting coordinated departures and synchronized arrivals at the reef. For weeks, the flotilla remained in place, ignoring repeated requests from the Philippines to disperse. The ships did not fish or move with the tides. Instead, they loitered, sheltering each other and blocking access to the reef. When foreign patrols drew near, the militia captains responded over radio in rehearsed phrases, citing bad weather or mechanical issues. Yet the formation held, ringed tightly around the reef's lagoon. The vessels belonged to local collectives but took direction from provincial military departments, following orders relayed through party and militia channels. Their presence was never officially acknowledged as a blockade. No shots were fired and no formal declaration was made. But for those weeks, access to Whitsun Reef was effectively sealed, not by force, but by massed civilian hulls operating just inside the law and just outside the reach of conventional naval response. On February 1st, 2021, a new law went into effect in China, granting the China Coast Guard sweeping authority to enforce what it defines as maritime rights. Article 21 of this law allows Coast Guard vessels to take all necessary measures, including the use of force, against foreign ships that refuse to leave waters claimed by China. The text is clear. If sovereignty is threatened, Coast Guard crews are not only permitted, but obligated to act, with legal backing for escalation up to and including the use of weapons. This legal shield is more than words on paper. In February 2023, the Philippine patrol boat BRP Malapascua was approaching 2nd Thomas Shoal with a resupply mission. At a distance of about 5 nautical miles, China Coast Guard vessel 5205 directed a military-grade laser at the Malapascua's bridge. Crew members reported temporary blindness and disorientation. The incident lasted only seconds, but it forced the Philippine ship to halt its approach and file a diplomatic protest. The Chinese side cited their domestic law, insisting the Coast Guard was acting within its rights to defend national jurisdiction. The Philippines referenced the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea and rejected that claim. The standoff was not resolved by dialogue. It was resolved by the simple fact that the Malapascua could not safely continue its mission. In these encounters, legal language becomes a shield for physical coercion, transforming the Coast Guard from a policing force into a frontline instrument of state power. At sea, distance is measured in minutes, not just miles. When two vessels close on each other at 20 knots, a common speed for modern warships, 5 nautical miles vanish in roughly 15 minutes. That window shrinks to 3 minutes at 1 nautical mile, and to less than 20 seconds when ships are within a few hundred meters. For captains and crews, this is not a theoretical calculation. Every second shaved from the clock means less time to observe, orient, decide, and act the OODA loop that governs survival in close encounters. The math is simple, but the consequences are profound. At 20 knots, a ship covers 1/3 of a nautical mile per minute. From 5 nautical miles, a vessel can appear on radar or optical sensors, and the bridge team may have as little as 30 to 60 seconds to confirm identity, assess intent, and relay information up the chain of command. If shore-based radar or airborne patrols provide early warning, that cue-to-action chain might stretch to several minutes. In the crowded waters of the South and East China Seas, clutter and electronic interference can cut those timelines even further. In a compressed battlespace, the kill chain, the sequence from detection to potential weapon release, can unfold in under 15 minutes. Land-based missile batteries or ship-launched anti-ship missiles operating from fortified reefs or coastal bases are often ready to fire within moments of receiving a targeting solution. For comparison, a United States carrier strike group maneuvering in the open ocean might have 30 minutes to an hour to react to a threat detected over the horizon. In China's near seas, that luxury dissolves. The proximity of shore-based sensors, overlapping radar networks, and persistent patrols means that reaction time is always shrinking. This pressure is not limited to combat scenarios. Even routine shadowing and intercepts force commanders to make binary choices, alter course, stand their ground, or escalate, often with incomplete information and little time for consultation. The mathematics of closure transform every encounter into a test of nerves and judgment, where the margin for error is measured in seconds, and the consequences ripple far beyond the ships involved. Counting hulls has long been the measure of naval strength. Yet in the waters off China's coast, that arithmetic breaks down. A United States carrier strike group, for example, brings enormous firepower, but with it comes a burden. Every mile traveled from home stretches supply lines thinner. A carrier operating 1,000 nautical miles from friendly ports depends on a constant flow of fuel, munitions, food, and spare parts delivered by vulnerable support ships. Each resupply run must cross oceans, exposed to surveillance and interdiction. By contrast, Chinese warships and aircraft operate under the umbrella of land-based logistics and sensors. Shore facilities along the mainland and fortified islands provide permanent stocks, maintenance, and rapid reinforcement. If a missile is fired or a jet needs repairs, the response is measured in hours, not days. Distance matters. The difference grows sharper under the shadow of China's anti-ship missile arsenal. The DF-21D, known as the carrier killer, can strike targets at ranges up to 1,500 kilometers. This missile, launched from the mainland, puts any ship inside the first island chain within reach. United States planners must account for this threat with every movement. A carrier group cannot simply anchor off contested reefs or loiter near Taiwan without exposing itself to sudden attack. Instead, it must keep to the outer edges of missile range, limiting its ability to influence events close to shore. The closer a rival ship gets, the greater the risk. and the less time there is to react. Range shapes every decision. For Chinese forces, proximity flips the logic of naval power. Instead of projecting strength across oceans, they compress the battle space, forcing adversaries to operate inside a dense web of sensors, missiles, and patrols. The logistics tail shortens to a few hundred nautical miles, supported by permanent infrastructure. Meanwhile, rivals face a 1,000 nautical mile gauntlet just to reach the theater, then operate under constant threat. In this environment, numbers on paper matter less than the ability to surge ships and aircraft where they count, at the moment of decision. Regional planners now grapple with a reality where the advantage lies not with the biggest fleet, but with the side that controls the shortest distance between threat and response. Proximity and the capacity to surge determine operational asymmetry. Today, every mile closed on the world's busiest seas compresses not just distance, but decision time. As rivals edge closer, the risk of split-second escalation grows. Naval power now hinges on proximity. The world's margins for error have never been so narrow. Share your thoughts below.